What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Two Guys That Know a little bit too much about Aaron Kovar's career path. Listen, we got a fantastic video for you guys today. We just wanted to do something really quick. Basically, we're just going to go through the Sounders Concacaf Champions Cup. We're going to go through our first matchup, and we're going to discuss, our expectations, like how far do we think realistically that we can go, predict where we will finish. We'll probably talk about some scenarios, where we would go if certain things happen in the bracket, stuff like that. So we just want to give our predictions and our expectations of what this team can achieve this Champions Cup. So.
Oh yeah, quick little intermission here, guys. We will be doing a watch-along for the Seattle Sounders first leg matchup in the Concacaf Champions Cup. So make sure to click the first link in the description or in the annotation to head over to that watch-along and click notify me so you know when we go live. Now let's get back into the video.
Our first game in the Champions Cup, February 19th, we play against a team called Antigua.
They have played in the Champions League once, the previous iteration of CONCACAF's competition in 2016-17. They were in a group with the Whitecaps and the Red Bulls, and it did not go good for them.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this could just be this could possibly sound like an American ignorant moment, but I have not heard of this team. I don't know much about them. Realistically, guys, this is a game where we should expect nothing more than a comfortable win moving on to the next round. I mean, I guess we could. You never know what can happen in the tournament style of football. You never know what can happen. Anything can happen. That's what makes this game so great. But realistically, guys, it should be a quick 3-4-1 aggregate, and then we should move on to the next round.
So they've started off their season 3-2-1 when we're filming this, which I mean, a team with 2 losses in the Guatemalan League, I would hope the Sounders are able to find a way to win. This kind of gives me a feeling like that Montagua tie we had last time we won the Champions League. I could see us away, like at their place, just, typical like gritty CONCACAF game. It being like I think we're going to win 2-0 and then finish business at home, kind of one of those sort of matchups. So I think we'll probably get the business done, but I don't think the first leg will be as easy as people might think it can be, just because, I mean, CONCACAF competition is always so crazy.
Yeah, that's the beautiful thing about CONCACAF, ironically, is just how like messy these games can potentially get. Like if you go into a game thinking you're gonna absolutely just whomp an opponent, and they show up ready to play, chip on their shoulder, like it could get scrappy, it could get ugly, and they could mess around and end up winning. But realistically, like every Sounders fan should expect us to move on to the next round, where we will likely play against Cruz Azul. So they did win 2-0 in the first leg against Real Hope.
So they recently lost their coach. He kind of, I don't want to say defected, but he essentially just left the club, took the job at Porto, and then didn't really explain or tell the club before he left. So there's some legal issues going on there, which it kind of gives me some hope if we get past Antigua. Sort of, I like our chances against Cruz Azul in the next round if we were to get there. Just matching up on paper, this isn't the strongest Cruz Azul team we've seen in recent years or in their history. I think that we'd have a shot.
Yeah, I mean, Cruz Azul just starting off their campaign, the second half of it, they're about somewhat close to the middle of the table, maybe a little bit higher. And they obviously did just sign Bogusz, who has been an absolute pain in our butts, especially last season. So, I mean, they're definitely a team that we should not be taking lightly by any circumstance. Anybody that thinks we'll just go in and, walk right through them, kind of crazy. But if we are the team that we want to be, the team that some fans think we are, we should move on. We should move on. That should be the expectation for this group. We did strengthen a lot in the offseason. I know people didn't, people wanted us to make that giant big splash, but we did get better. That's a fact. Yeah.
With our signings, I think Areola and Jesus Ferreira, those 2 names where this is a competition where signings like that do prove to be effective. Areola, he played in Liga MX. Jesus Ferreira, he knows how to win these CONCACAF games. He's played in Gold Cup matchups. These are the type of players that have the experience to win matchups like this in a tournament in this way. And I think that'll be pretty vital. And we'll see that they're strengthening to this squad very early on in this campaign.
Yeah, and then for anybody that follows the USMNT, that's kind of Jesus Ferreira's like meme that he, they call him the Pirate of the Caribbean and whatnot, that he takes care of CONCACAF teams pretty easily. But, that is a good point to bring up. Like he does know what this is like. He has played on I guess somewhat of a big stage internationally in a Concacaf tournament. So we're hoping that does carry over. I would expect us to move on. I would. Not saying that it's going to be easy. If we scrape by, I would not be surprised at all, just because it's the nature of Concacaf. But I would expect us to move on to the next round. Beyond that,
Yeah, I'd agree. In the next round, obviously not a guaranteed, but we're setting up the path to face America in that next round, and that's sort of where I start to get a little scared about what our odds are about progressing in the tournament. Obviously, in a tournament setting, you never know. But America right now, a lot would argue is the best team in Liga MX. Debate that in the comments if you disagree with me there. But that's sort of the first real game where I think that it'd be a true upset if we come out winning there. I don't know about your opinions on the game.
I think if we were to go out to them, I wouldn't be upset. I kind of would expect it at that point. But I don't think this is an unwinnable game, unwinnable series.
Not at all.
I think we're good enough to be able to make a push at them and make things interesting. So I mean, like you said, tournament style matches, two legs, like anything can happen. You have a team like us that's very, very solid defensively. So if we can, get a goal, maybe two, and just kind of see out the game, that could be a potential avenue for us to move on. But realistically, I do kind of see us going home against Club America, and I wouldn't be upset. I mean, obviously it sucks to lose, but in terms of just how we fared in the tournament, I wouldn't be too upset about that.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that from that point on, if we get past America, it's not even worth predicting right now in the terms of a tournament format. You never know who we're going to face that deep into the tournament. But I sort of feel like that's one of those games where if we can get past America, I'd have a good feeling about us winning the whole thing. I sort of think that will be like the biggest test for us, and kind of we'll go from there.
Yeah, well, let's just explore that real quick. So let's just say by some way we do get past Club America. You see on the other side of the bracket, obviously Columbus Crew have been basically neutered at this point. Um, Maybe they'll make some additions to their team. I'm not sure how they're going to replace a player like Cucho Hernandez that quickly, but potentially on the side, obviously Inter Miami is probably the heavy favorite to advance, and I would say if we do make the final, that's likely the team that we could be facing. Obviously, they did disappoint in the MLS playoffs, but I don't see them flaming out early, at least, in two back-to-back tournaments like that. So who would you say on the other side, if the Sounders were to make the final, who do you think is the most likely team to make it on the other side, and how would we fare against them?
The two teams that stand out to me is, I think, Monterrey and Miami. Monterrey, just because they're kind of like one of those teams, similar to how we feel in the MLS, where it's like no matter how strong their squad is in a tournament like this, you kind of just expect them to get it done and make a bit of a run. And then Inter Miami, I mean, Messi, Suarez, I don't need to go on. And I think so. I could see us playing either of those teams in the final, and that becomes a coin flip for me. I wouldn't be surprised either way if we win either of those matchups. I don't think I necessarily say that we'd be the Vegas favorites in either of those games, but I don't think that we'd be that far off it being a bit of a pick 'em.
Yeah, I mean, I think if we play against Monterrey, weirdly enough, like a part of me feels like I'd almost rather play Inter Miami, as crazy as that sounds, because I do think like we would have a chance to beat them. I think a better chance than Monterrey.
I know that even we broke it, obviously, having won a Concacaf Champions League, but I would agree. I feel like there's still kind of that monkey on the back of like MLS teams when they face Liga MX teams, where it just kind of feels like no matter how good the MLS team is, the Liga MX teams just has that extra, that extra strength on us. I don't know what it is, and it just feels like it felt like we might have broken through the barrier with that CCL win a couple years back, but I just still feel you could feel it last year in the CCL. Like it just felt like even all the MLS giants kind of seemed to struggle in that Liga MX atmosphere. So I
Yeah.
think I'd always rather take playing an MLS team in this tournament.
Whether or not that happens, that does remain to be seen. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for supporting. Make sure you do leave a thumbs up on the video, subscribe. We got a lot of more content in the works that's going to come out leading up to the season, and then we'll do a lot of in-season stuff as well. If you guys have any different takes than us, agree, disagree, leave it all down in the comments below. We'll make sure to read all of them and check it out. So, yeah, everyone, have an amazing day.